Hi.
Hey.
Look, I'm sitting here and I'm like, oh my God. I was thinking to myself, now I know how teachers truly feel because I'm sitting there like, is anybody going to come? Well, like I was looking at the time and I was like, okay, it's close to 5. Usually, usually here by now.
Yeah.
Because I'm so excited that Bruno came for the walkthrough with the in-person plan and gave feedback on it before the faculty meeting because I was supposed to meet with him at 3:30. And my
Oh,
plan
wow.
was I was just going to stay at school, do SBDM meeting from there, and then leave. And I got
Gotcha.
home, got everything set up. And yeah, so I left the copy of the budget on my desk. So it's going to be curled up tomorrow. But
Yeah.
that's the first thing on our new business. So, oops, we haven't really been spending any money. Cool. I don't know. Will that fly?
I think we'll be good.
Okay. And I figured out, look, I'm so proud of myself. I figured out how to do the live on YouTube. I don't know if anybody ever looks at it, but whatever. It's public if they want to go to Facebook or YouTube Live.
Right?
Hi, Miss Sear.
Hey,
Look, she still
how are
has
you
on her
guys?
holiday shirt.
Hey, I do. It says it's Christmas. Could I be any more excited?
I like that. I took mine off because I didn't want to have to drive home and then I might be in a car accident and then they like have to deal with me and I have like antler ears on and a shirt that says ho 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 on it. So I took it off.
I may or may not have also slept in this last night, so like it
No
just rolled
judgment.
through today. Like,
No judgment at all.
like it was cold.
Yeah, there you go. I'm gonna be honest with you. I may or may not have actually gone into the school building and didn't shower. Okay. Because I slept through my alarms. But
Hey, I'm in my Jamie
You weren't
body.
close enough to anyone.
that's true. I stayed in my office with the door closed the whole day. I'm telling myself because Albright might have been there.
So I have to tell you this. So when I first logged on and the Dominic the Donkey song was playing, I like took the computer and ran out into the living room to my family. I go, look what she's playing, and they just all started laughing.
I thought it was cute. I'm gonna play it for Abby because I could not remember. I was like, Abby, there's this donkey song that I had at school. She's like, what are you talking about, mommy? Well, I'll figure it out. But now it's saved on my phone. So
Oh, we're so crazy, all of us. I know. And I hear we're supposed to get.
yes.
My son told me that like Georgetown, where he works, is supposed to get like a foot of snow. Are we supposed to get a foot of snow?
This morning they said that the line, we were in the middle of the rain and switching over to like it's raining, but it's like hitting the windshields and overpass, and it was ice this morning. But the temperature was supposed to go up, and we were just supposed to have rain in Lexington.
So I started panicking, going, "What do I need that I don't have if I'm stuck in the house for who knows?" Like,
But here's what's funny. Like I went to the grocery store after work yesterday and I go to Meyer on Reynolds Road because nobody used to go there. I'm like, what are all these people doing here? Why are they in all the lines? And my mother was like, we're supposed to get like ice and snow or sleet or something. That's why. And I'm like, oh, so I have groceries.
yeah,
Meyer is so expensive. I went there today because my bank's in there because someone hacked my bank account last week and got $900 out. Yeah, I wanted to vomit. But no one was in there this morning when I went there, so that was nice to Meyer.
So maybe I should
So it
go
had to
in
have
the
been the
morning.
snow worry. Yeah.
Yeah.
I went around like 9 as soon as my math meeting was done.
Okay. I was about to say good morning. Good evening, Miss Cooper.
feels like morning.
It does. Yeah, I don't know what time it is. I don't know what day it is. thank God for that mouse pad with the calendar on it, because when I'm talking about stuff, I'm like, oh yeah, that's the date. I'm like, is that today or tomorrow?
Oh,
One day last week, I missed a whole day. That was wild. Hi, Kathleen.
Hi,
How are you?
I'm okay. I'm in fifth grade research paper.
Oh.
It's not
What is it with
going
schools
well.
and want to do research papers? Abby had to do a research project on a holiday, and guess what my child chose?
No
Cinco de
telling.
Mayo.
Oh.
I was like, Abby, that has nothing to do with winter, December, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, none of that. Winter, just you chose Cinco de Mayo. She was like, yeah. I said, well, what else do you know about it besides that we eat tacos and mommy gets margaritas? And she said, it's a celebration of the defeat of the French because they try to take over Mexico. I was like, well, she learned something.
More than I knew.
I was like, I thought it was for tacos and margaritas, but oh.
Well, we're doing one on the water cycle, and it's excruciating.
Oh, that sounds
not fun.
No, it's not.
well. Okay, so we're waiting for Santiago and Anderkin.
Oh, I'm tapping on the table.
I say, all right, Emmanuel.
I was tapping on the table. I was like,
So I know we haven't officially started the meeting yet, but I want to pick your brain about doing something for the staff as we try to come back, because we have staff trainings on the 4th, 6th, depending upon whatever band we're in. And I wanted to do something for them because I tried to do something for them, but I found out that Ms. Rose told me I couldn't use the money for staff. And since we haven't been in school, we haven't had a lot of money revenue generated from the soda machines, because that's the only money that I can use on staff.
you can do that.
Okay.
Go ahead and put it in because, like they still have our money frozen, but as long as we put the stuff in, yeah.
Oh, okay.
We have to get permission to spend the money.
Oh, okay. Well, then maybe we should talk later, because I had a plan, because I'm pretty sure we're not going to be able to do 8th grade promotional ceremony like we historically have done. So I have this vision to create like a drive-through. You know how we had kids and families come through and drive through. We have like the balloon arches, creating like the route around the back of the school. We have we get all the teachers to, they can be there, cheer on, and then we hand them their promotional packet, certificates and stuff like that. We'll still do the video like we did last time. And then we have like up on the hill, we have like socially distant picture taking stations where the kids actually go and take pictures, and kind of make it special for them.
Who's going to be taking the pictures?
People with their cell phones.
I thought you was going to have people taking it for them.
Oh, well, I mean, if we could have, like, I know somebody who's a photographer that would be really cheap, like free. But if he were to print, then we would have to pay for the material. Like, I would feel like it's my dad. He's into photography. And he would
have family members too.
Yeah. So maybe if they want to do that, and then maybe if we could pay them, for their materials of printing the pictures, and then we could make sure we mail them to those families.
How about setting up a printer there that prints them?
True. Well, I was thinking, well, it's a far like electricity, because you know that parking lot up on the hill,
Mhm.
that would allow us to do the spacing out. Like we would have them directed to park in the eighth or park in the football parking lot of the high school, but like having stations set up there possibly.
We can work on that.
Okay.
Okay.
Even we could stagger it, like A through E would be this time frame. I don't know if we could even do that. I don't know, but just thoughts.
Okay.
We could do a cute thing like, like kindergartners do when they graduate too, like what I want to be when I grow up, and they could hold a sign, I don't know if that's too elementary for eighth graders, but as a parent, I think that would be fun to have that, like, of your kid.
How about a vision
Yeah,
board? Like a vision board.
Yeah, like the frame, like class of 20, what are they, 2024 or 2025? How many?
We just do the 8th grade 2021.
I want them to think beyond.
Okay.
A lot of people on here know my feeling about eighth grade promotional ceremony, because have you ever witnessed one, Miss Cooper, before COVID? It's a sight. Is Miss Albright on there? Because I don't think, Miss Santiago, you've been. It's like at Bryan Station High School in the gym. The gym holds about 2,000 people, and we probably filled it up.
But you don't do like I don't know if we had the space like this is the analogy I'm trying to think, like when you go to a theme park, like you have different stations and they can take pictures with these theme in this station, they can take
That's
pictures
what I was thinking.
theme,
Well,
like
that's what I was thinking.
different themes inside.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, having that, but having it spaced out in that parking lot up on the hill, the school. You know what I mean? And
you cannot use the football field for spacing out chairs and all that.
Oh, you're talking about actually having a promotional ceremony.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or how about if we set up the different stations for the photographers, and
one.
the last station be the 2024?
We can be the first one. Why not?
Just don't get too ahead of yourselves in case we can't do anything.
Well, here's the thing. If they shut it down for high schools and wouldn't allow them to space it out on their own football fields last year and made them all go to, what was that? The horse park? What is that? They just did a drive-through.
But are there less or they're more than us? Are there more than us or we're less?
Well, yeah, it's a lot more.
Well, it's their graduating class. It's not a whole lot.
Yeah, it is.
Do you know how many eighth graders we would have graduating?
Nope.
Like this year, it'll be low. Like if everybody is promoted or graduates.
They will.
We're like almost 300.
Eighth graders?
Yeah.
What?
I think it's less.
We get them from another school. No.
No, in Spanish immersion alone, there's like over 100.
107, I think it is, something like that.
Is it 107? And like 6.
I think.
And then eighth grade traditional is like 100, 130, 140, almost 150. I said almost 300. You know, I'm not good with math. Okay.
I'm gonna say that's only 250.
Okay, that will be, we can think about
Okay,
that.
but it's 50 less than 300. It's still close to 300. It's closer to 300 than it
No,
is.
it's not the same 50 more people.
And there are some high schools, like when you start thinking about who really can graduate and participate, they're usually around 300.
I think we have the time to think about it because
We do.
last
Okay.
year it was like, okay, this is what it is, but now we can see any difference.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I would prefer not to do a promotional ceremony because I think it sends a false sense of completion.
It does.
Minds of some of our families and students that they need to understand that you have 4 more years to be college and career ready. Like this is just, and that's why I always put that in my speech. Like, guys, this is just one
I know. I love them because it's just a stepping. This is where you are now. You got this one. Now we need to get
Right.
the other one. That's how I see it. I see it
When
different.
did
Yeah.
this start? Like,
I'm
when did
sorry.
these whole promotion things start? Because I did not have them when I was growing up.
I had
I
them
mean,
all.
I'm not that old.
I didn't either.
I didn't
You-
either.
I didn't either.
Maybe you just moved
I
from
enjoy
8th grade to
everything.
9th grade.
Right.
I think it's maybe it started when they split it. Remember, sixth grade was in elementary,
Yeah.
ninth grade was in
I
middle.
went to Jesse Clark. I went to Jesse Clark, and in 1984, we had a promotion from 8th grade to 9th grade to 10th grade.
Oh.
We have
It's
231 eighth graders.
It's important.
We have how many 8th graders?
231.
231. Okay. Well, that means 231. That
Well,
means
I don't know if that's true.
there's going to be about 15 people who want to come for each child, roughly.
Yep.
It
I have
says two-
I
it
have a
says
large
200
family, and they are going to want to be there.
It says 231, but that also says our total for our school is 791. I don't think that's quite right.
Okay.
So I don't know. It's close to that though.
Okay. Well, we'll talk about that later. Sorry.
Agree.
The time is now 5:10 p.m. I will call this meeting to order. Thank you for everyone for your patience and understanding. If you followed the information from the board meeting or anything that came out of the superintendent webinar, or any information that has been streaming through our media as of late, I hope you understand that's why, part of the reason why I've asked to push back our special call meeting. And then also, I just wanted to let it go on record that, we lost a very good superintendent who kept children first. He thought about all kids. He made sure that everybody was safe. He took into account how administrators felt, teachers felt, paraeducators, cafeteria workers, everybody, and wanted to make sure that we were all safe. So I know there's a lot of information out there on social media, but bottom line, he cared about kids. He cared about our safety and kids' safety. So he will be greatly missed. And I don't know if you all have seen on the news or driven by our school, but they've asked that every school put on their marquee farewell partner for Manny Calk. And so that is on our marquee for the week leading up to his celebration of life, which was last Saturday. Every school had their flag at half mast. And so just so you know that principals were asked to donate money to the memorial of Manny Calk to help pay the cost for the scholarship that he actually paid for out of his own pocket that was awarded to a graduating senior. And so Kathy Fine, the principal at Glendover, headed up that. And so each principal gave funds to help support that. So just wanted to let you all know that part. So we'll get to the agenda. The first thing on our agenda is to approve our SBDM minutes from November the 11th. Everybody get a copy of that?
Yes.
Okay. So has everybody had an opportunity to review it, or do you need a moment?
It's good.
Okay. Right. So if everybody's in agreement to accept the meeting minutes as written, I will open the floor to take a motion to accept the minutes as written.
I move to accept the minutes as written.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Albright, could I get a second?
I second.
Second it.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Santiago. That's the first voice I heard.
I know.
Right.
Everybody.
All right, next on our agenda, old business. We do not have anything on old business on our agenda for this evening. So we will switch over to new business. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. In haste, trying to get home to start this meeting, I left the budget on my desk. So I'm gonna ask that we table the budget for January's meeting. I will tell you now that we have not done any significant spending because we are not in school. So it pretty much looks the same each month. Okay, so here comes the big doozy. All right. So I did go ahead and share this with the faculty today at the faculty meeting, but this is our in-person and remote learning plan. Every school is required to complete this plan. I shared it with you ahead of time. And I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen because I do have just a PowerPoint presentation that I just created to do an overview. So this will be redundant for the teachers, but this will just give you an idea of where we are. So as we know, Bryan Station Middle School is a very unique school. We are afforded the opportunity to have a dual language immersion program that has a very robust attendance rate or population. We continue to grow. And we also have about 50 plus, I think it's a little over 50, I think it's like 52 or 53 eighth grade students. And it's not just in our dual language immersion program, also on our traditional side this year. We have students that start their day at the high school to take geometry and an elective class at Bryan Station High School. And then we have a series of itinerant teachers that we share with other schools. So taking all of that into consideration, it was no small task to come up with a plan to provide services for our students who will be in person as well as our remote students. So the first thing that we looked at was the in-person learning instructional plan and the critical considerations for in-person. So a majority of our course rosters will remain the same. However, there will be some adjustments to class rosters to address the need for synchronous learning with our remote learners. Through this is that professional learning communities will be vital to make sure that we are looking at the essential standards, assessment development, instructional planning for both in-person and remote learning. We need to make sure that we are streamlining and prioritizing the content from the revised Fayette County Public Schools units of frameworks or the pacing guides to highlight the critical content and power standards essential to teachers and for students to learn. Intentionally focusing in on the developed learning experiences that include high expectations, grade appropriate assignments tied to standards, strong instruction, and deep engagement. Provide students with timely feedback, formatively assess during instruction to drive the instruction. And when cases call for students and staff to quarantine, that the students and the teachers could potentially continue class assignments in Canvas. Because of this, Canvas should continue to be used for teacher lessons aligned with the school-based district curricula, like Imagine Learning, Envision Math, Collections, Amplify Science, My World Interactive, which is the social studies pilot curriculum that we are utilizing in our school, and OdysseyWare, Success Maker, and Reading Plus. OdysseyWare was purchased by the district, and we are utilizing that for course recovery, as well as Success Maker is used for our Tier 2, Tier 3 students in math, and Reading Plus for our Tier 2 and Tier 3 students. During in-person learning instruction, we need to take in consideration small group instruction within the classroom. So classroom teachers should follow the classroom safety expectations addressed in the guidance and safety expectations and best practices for Kentucky schools. I also have that, and I'm going to quickly switch over to that because I do want to point out something. So this is the guidance on the safety expectations and best practices for Kentucky schools. We've had some staff members who are grappling with the idea of kids being closer than 6 feet. So I just wanted to share with the board or the council the safety expectations from Kentucky Department of Education for public Department of for public health. Sorry. So right here it says increase space between students by rearranging seating to maximize space between students to be 6 feet or greater. This bullet right here. If the physical space in the school does not allow for spacing, students' desks 6 feet apart, student desk as far away as possible, all desks should be arranged so student seats face the same direction. The use of cloth face mask is a safety expectation for all students and staff at all times unless medically waived. So keeping that in mind, we are a large school. Okay, I will just say that. Even with our in-person return, we're at about 599, but a large portion of our in-person comes from 6th grade because our 6th grade numbers are really large. We have 115 kids in a dual language immersion program that will be in person. And we have 109 that will be in person on traditional side. So when you think about the number of teachers, we have 5 core teachers for each team. So that roughly gives you about 26 students per class. So we have tables, and we, those tables are like the 2-person tables. So we're trying our best to locate desks to accommodate so that we can have more spacing out and keeping those kiddos separate from each other. But that's where we are with that. So the small group instruction. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I have a quick question. So with the tables, let's say we don't get the desk, you know, could we set the kids like at the ends, or no, like kind of facing each other so they're further away from each other, or do we set them right next to each other to where they face forward?
The guidance that we have received from risk management is that they need to face forward, because if we put them at the end, because that's what I thought for targeted services, like in those science classrooms. And I was like, well, if we put them here, then they turn around, they're right next to somebody else.
But if you put a partition, a plastic partition between that table and they're in the corners, then you're assuring that there's nothing.
But the guidance that we have received from the district is that they are not going to provide partitions.
Okay.
In between. Yeah, because they were only providing those for MSD because of the students who are medically fragile and cannot wear masks, or you know, they have a need and they cannot maintain keeping the mask on. And then the EL class, they afforded her one because she has to help with speaking and learning the English language and pronunciation of the words. And I know the same thing happens with Spanish immersion or dual language immersion, but in that particular case, it's like when they're doing the assessments. And that's the direction that I received from the district. So with the push-in services, that's looking at our EL and special education GT interventions. So our GT and interventions and special education, like our support skills, those are in our elective rotations. So therefore, that is not specific to us necessarily, but in the event that like there's small groups, like with EL, it says make sure that you're using the PPE, the face shield, in addition to your face mask when you're providing direct services in the classroom. And we have enough PPE for every staff member to have that shield, face shield. We also ordered masks that have the window in it that has like the plastic, so that the teacher mouth can be, like lips can be read, or they can see how they're creating the sounds with their lips. So we did do that already. So those are in-house, and they were actually put into everyone's mailbox. So all of our staff members have received those. And then conduct face-to-face instruction with small groups or individual students within the same classroom. So that's talking about like our speech pathologist. Like she should actually go into the classroom to avoid having kids come from different areas. The co-teaching services, same thing, PPE. And they're in those co-teaching, they need to, you know, classrooms, they need to be directly in the classroom with those kiddos. They need to have that PPE on. And then there needs to be a class roster. The class roster needs to be reconfigured to consolidate the students requiring co-teaching. And we have already done that to the same classrooms. So those students, based upon their number of minutes and what they need for co-teaching in person, have already been taken into consideration. The special education MSD services, that's our mild to severe disability classroom. We do have students that go to general ed classes like the science and social studies. And so what we are doing with our counselors is ensuring that those students that are returning, I think there's only one that may return, but to make sure that they are grouped with peers so that they are in the social studies or science class with the same peers. And then when they go to the elective class, they're with that same peer set, if that makes sense. In the event that the parents request MSD all day because their child is not able to wear a mask or stay, or they're or they have like a fragile medical condition, then there needs to be an IEP. And from my understanding, talking to Ms. Scott, there hasn't been any. But then the student could still Zoom into the general education class, and we will utilize our paraeducators to go with the Chromebook into the classroom, Zoom into the classroom, and then there's a Chromebook that will be in the MSD room so that the child can participate that way. So then we get into remote learning instructional plan. And so we wanted to make sure that everyone understood that remote learning is not Virtual Learning Academy, because Virtual Learning Academy was an application process which has already been completed, and they follow the Florida Virtual School Curriculum, and it's facilitated by teachers identified for Virtual Learning Academy. And then there was this chart that talked about what instruction looks like in a remote learning, the teachers, the student groups, and et cetera. And so then we looked at the critical considerations for remote learning. And Bryan Station Middle School right now is at about 20% of our school population has requests remote learning. And so in order to provide services that mirror what they have come accustomed to through the NTI 2DL this fall semester, we have created a master schedule to allot for that synchronous learning throughout the day. And so they will continue to get that rigorous, high quality, standards-based instruction and assignments, and maintain high quality, engaging, interactive teaching and learning. They'll have an opportunity to collaborate with other students when possible that are in remote. So like, let's say the sixth grade, sixth grade students that are in remote and they're in language arts. So they would all be able to interact with one another through that mode. And then Canvas will be the primary instructional platform. Teachers' lessons will be aligned to the school-based district curricula. And then to make sure that students have access to ebooks. So Ms. Brewer, our librarian, does have ebooks, and those can be shared with our students through the remote learning process. And then it's just a listing of different ways in which students can learn during remote. And the remote learning schedule. So the students will follow their specific, sorry?
On the reading, they're looking for like actual books to read, and you let Ms. Brewer know that the library has a thing where you can go online and do the bag of books, and they'll give you a bag of books. You just tell them what you like to read. So they're
Okay.
doing that.
Are you talking about the public library?
Yes.
Oh, well, Ms. Brewer told me that she has ebooks. So I'm assuming they're electronic books that can actually be accessed through their Chromebooks.
Yeah. Some of the like if they don't like the ebooks that are on there, they really need to read. That's what I've been doing with Emmanuel. You gotta. He told them what he liked. You do it online, and they pack them, get them ready. You just pick the bag up. Then what you don't read, you keep it in the bag and take it back.
Okay. And that's through the public library.
Yes.
I'll be sure to let her know that so we can push that out to our families as well. But the remote learning schedule, so students will receive a specific remote learning schedule, and that is when that'll go into effect when we go into in-person. So the board is going to have a briefing on January 5th to determine when and if we come back in a graduated format on the 11th. That graduated format would be K through 2 and 6th grade. So we would only be looking at 6th grade coming back on the 11th. So please watch the board meetings as they come out. I've told the staff already, like as soon as you hear about a board meeting, make sure you plan to watch it because I will be watching and I will try to give points and bullets out to the staff afterwards so that everybody's aware.
Did they say when the 7th and 8th grade were coming back, or just through 6th grade?
It would be like a week later. It would be a week later. Mm-hmm. So let's say all things are okay that first week with 6th grade. Then the next week, they would then add on 7th grade. Then the third week, they would have 8th grade. So by that third week out, they would no, I'm sorry, I misspoke. I think it's like 2 weeks. So 6th grade and K through 2 would probably go for like they're going to go for 2 weeks. And then they would have a briefing and say, okay, well, in 2 weeks, we'll add on, 7th grade. And then 2 more weeks. So then by February, mid-February, we would have all 3 grades in the building. If all things work out.
Mhm.
So remember we had those different bands. It goes from purple to green. Green means we're A-okay and everybody can come back to school.
Mhm.
Purple means
And for what
nobody.
Tyler Murphy said, we're in purple right now, right? So we're still in purple.
Yes, we're way in purple. Because remember that, and I'm gonna stop sharing right here because I'm at the end of that PowerPoint. Okay, so I don't know, parents, did you all watch the board meeting or see that on the news? The information about the different color bands?
I missed the color bands, but I know we're way above purple, like into another color.
Yes, and so like the metric that was created by Fayette County off to the left has like the idea of how many positive cases have to be reported for that day. And that would determine what band we're in. And when you look at it, it says 132 plus, and that's at the very top with purple. I believe yesterday it was like 2,000 cases for Lexington.
Was
So we're way above. And then and I'm just going to say this, and which is everybody's been saying it. So after Thanksgiving, what we're seeing right now is the result of Thanksgiving, which was 3 days. Now we're about to go out for 2 weeks. And the incubation period is about 2 weeks. So keep that in mind when you're looking at that metric and the information. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Okay.
It's just math. That's it.
That's
It's
just
all
math.
Mhm.
Math and science.
Yep.
So that's where we are. So that's our in-person remote plan, and I'm just sharing that with you because a lot of that information it's taking from the hybrid plan that we created already, the targeted services plan, and just putting it into action with our in-person and remote.
Did you say that goes into effect on the 7th?
What? The in-person remote plan?
The master schedule, the new.
We haven't gotten to that yet.
Okay.
Yeah, that's going to be the next thing. You're jumping ahead.
Sorry.
It's okay.
It's good.
So, all right, I'm gonna go back to sharing my screen because we're gonna go on to the next thing on our agenda. And that is the BMS schedules. If I can exit, okay, here we go. Ah, here we go. All right, I'm gonna make it bigger. So this is an line item that we will need to vote on. But I'm going to tell you the background on this. So as I shared with the staff this morning, in the fall, as a committee, we met together and I shared with you a NTI 2DL schedule where students had first, second, and third period in the morning. And then in the afternoon, they either had asynchronous work time or they could meet with teachers to get support. Students were only synchronous for 3 hours a day. Well, actually not even 3 full hours. It was 50 minutes, 3 periods. And they were finished by 12 o'clock. And then they did this on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. So essentially students were only having access or direct instruction or synchronous learning with their teachers less than 100 minutes per week. And so early on, the feedback I received from parents who called, they were very concerned because students weren't getting a lot of time on task with teachers. And I try to reassure them, explain to them that this is just a schedule for a time. And the idea was that we would eventually go to like either a hybrid model or back in person, some form or fashion. Well, as we know right now, as December 16th, we have been in this model. So students have not had a lot of time with teachers. And as we move forward and what we have learned in the past, and as we just said, the numbers are off the chart. We're nowhere near the red line of 25%. We are up at like, I think it's a little bit shy of 80%, like it was like 79 or whatever percent. So we've got to do something to provide more time for direct instruction or time on task with the teachers through synchronous learning. And keeping in mind that when we do go back in person, we need a schedule that closely mirrors what the students will experience in person. So being creative and aligned with the high school because we have 50 plus students who start their day there. So this particular modified is NTI 2DL modified schedule is one that was created that allows for 40-minute class periods where they would get all 7 periods and be finished by 3:45. Okay. So I'll just give you a time to look at that, but they would still, in an NTI 2DL model, they would only have classes on Monday and Tuesday. Wednesday, they would have social emotional learning with their 4th period teacher from 9 to 9:30. This past fall semester, our elective teachers have graciously taken on the task of teaching social emotional learning, and they have completed, I believe, the first 2 modules. There are 4 total. So we will have training for our general ed teachers who have a 4th period class to support that but that would be the only time in which they would actually be synchronous on Wednesday. Then in the afternoon, that would be a time for enrichment or intervention. And teachers will be able to have meetings with each other to make sure that they're planning, like checking on how things are going through the professional learning communities, help sessions for kids. Our teachers have been doing a wonderful job of setting up help sessions, schedule times. So this could be the devotion for Wednesday. And our teachers have been doing that in conjunction with having team meetings and PLCs and several other meetings, as well as faculty meetings, when I would call them. So they had to deal with that and juggle that, as well as supporting our students. So this would allow for that focus to be on enrichment and intervention for our kiddos the entire day from 9:30 until the 2:45. And then same thing on Thursday and Friday. It would be the same classes 1 through 7.
I have a quick question.
Yes, ma'am.
So on this schedule right here, it's like they're gonna be in class, but they're online, right?
Correct.
We have to stay home. So will they be able to interact, or is the teacher just gonna be, it's like right now, teachers are teaching, there's no interaction right now. So will there be interaction, like they wanna have a question, if they say, oh, well, I don't understand this problem, or I don't understand that question, will they be able to interact like they're in the classroom?
Yes.
Okay.
Through my virtual walkthroughs, because the admin team since September 14th, or is it October 14th? I can't remember. My days, months roll together. But anyway, we have been doing virtual walkthroughs, and every month we transition to another grade level. And so I've had an opportunity to be at every grade level and our elective classes. And when I'm in there, I hear teachers across the board, like they're teaching, they ask questions, and it's crickets.
Yeah, I know.
And they're like, okay, come on, guys. It starts with a letter M, like, come on. And I have encouraged the teachers to start incorporating the usage of breakout rooms, posing questions to kids and giving them small tasks where they would work together and then bringing them back, and then they would present out. Like, guys, we're at that point. And Miss Sear, I'm gonna put you on the spot, sorry. But I was in her classroom and she was doing this with her social studies class, and it was awesome. Like, these kids knew what to do. And even though they were quiet, they were working, and I was asking them questions. And they were like, oh yeah, this is what we're doing. And they could tell me what was going on. And they were working on their project, so they would come back and be able to present to the rest of the class.
Okay.
You want to speak to that at all, Ms. Sear, what you were doing? Or did I cover it? Sorry.
No, that was great. They, sorry, my dog's out. That was like the second time we had done breakout rooms. And since they don't have social studies books, we're trying to work on them getting the material and that. So them reading through it together, stop it, was perfect. And that's how it went. Sorry. That's so loud.
So, and then, like I said, more teachers are starting to do that. And I even had a meeting, I went to the dual language immersion team meeting, and like even some of my comments back to the teachers, like giving them feedback saying, if anybody could try this, I know you guys could try, because you have great classroom management, you can handle it, So like some of our social studies, science, I've encouraged science to start using that more. Specifically, like in 7th grade, they were working on like the wheelchair project, on like creating a wheelchair that was, feasible to work with, I guess, for athletics. And so it was like crickets. And I was like, try letting them talk to each other. It's okay, because whatever goes on in the breakout room is recorded. And if anything occurs, then we can handle it. But I think we can start trusting our kids a little more. And I just, the first semester, it was a learning curve for everybody. But I will tell you this. I say my teachers, the teachers I get the opportunity to work with at Bryan Station Middle School, they have worked very hard and they go above and beyond and they are trying new things. And some teachers are like, not technology is not their thing. And they make sure to let the kids know every class period, like, thank you for helping me. And sometimes sometimes the kids would like take over like how to utilize like Pear Deck. There was a couple of teachers that were trying to use Pear Deck for the first time and they were totally confused by it. And kids were like, oh no, Mr. blah, 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 or Miss such and such, you would have to do this. And so they would share their screen and help them through it. So, I mean, I think as we move forward and teachers have had a better opportunity to, you know, try new things, that you'll see more of that. But we just got to get that message out to families that kiddos have got to tune in, because we also have classes where kids are not coming to Zoom as of late. Over the course of the past, I would say 4 weeks, we're starting to see participation like logging on to dwindle down to like single digit kids actually showing up.
Oh.
And that's not good. Or they'll come in and they're zooming in, but their camera's not on. They're not responding to questions. Their name's being called. And I was even with one teacher where at the end of the class, I stayed to the end. And then the teacher and I started talking with each other. And he was like, yeah, I have to boot them out because they never turn the camera on and say goodbye. And I don't know where they are. Like, they're just gone.
Sleeping probably.
Yeah, they're signing in and then they're doing something else.
Yeah. And so
But
that's the
we do
issue
have
that-
students like that. One of my students, I got kicked out of my Zoom, and it makes this one student the host every single time I get kicked out of my Zoom. And he kept rolling on with the material. He kept going through the questions and getting people to respond, you know, and I'm like, I love you. You're awesome. Thank you. But like, so as we have those bad examples, but we also have, I've been really proud of the kids that are stepping up and taking on different roles, even, you know, more than expected. And so I think it's like we've seen more of our students and who they are and what they can bring to the table, even in different circumstances.
Thank you, Ms. Sear.
I just have a question about the schedule.
Mhm.
Is there any way that schedule can be like time released? Like keep adding one more class, let's say every 2 days, instead of putting 7 classes at the same time at the beginning for them, so they get like used to it.
But if we do a time release, we're going to lose kids.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be confusing because we had kids that had difficulty even figuring out our modified schedule at the very beginning. So this particular schedule is going to help us to gain some time instructionally with kids. And some of the feedback that I've given to some teachers is like, well, I'm having difficulties with kids, you know, turning in the assignments that we give on the asynchronous day. And I'm like, okay, well, try asking those standard, like what you do, Santiago. Like, you'll ask questions and you use Pear Deck and you're getting feedback from those kids, like utilizing that data to see if those kids are mastering the standards, instead of just depending on, okay, yes, you've done this sharing in class, but now I want you to go do this paper pencil, well, we'll just say paper pencil assignment and post it into Canvas. Oh, well, you didn't do it, but you just answered all the questions in the class. I was like, so we just need to start being creative to capture what do the kids truly know. And so I think giving more time on task with knowing, okay, I need to be in class and it's 40 minutes. So it's shorter than what they had before, but it's repetitive.
Yeah, I think it will help, because right now I will have students that come 10 minutes late to your Zoom. So I don't know. I just seen like the stress that it might happen at the beginning is going to be really hard for everyone because it's 7 classes, one after the other one. So I'm just putting myself in place to think about it. So I know at the beginning it's going to be hard for the kids, the family, and for us, but
Right.
we're going to make it through. And that's what I was thinking, go by release, but it's true what you're saying, that probably they're going to be more lost. So we're going to go through it and we're going to make it happen. So I think
Yeah, and one of the things that I talked about with the admin team is that once we get to January, we schedule Zoom meetings like we did for the curriculum night. And we actually talk through with the families and explain to them, this is what this plan is. This is what, we're doing. And this is why we're doing this. And just please make sure that you're doing these things to make sure your children are tuning in and participating. And every once in a while, can you please turn on your camera, like either at the beginning or the end? Because like even with your class, you say bye everybody, and
they turn on, they say bye.
And I mean, like just to make that connection by seeing each other's face, just like our faculty meeting today.
Yes.
I don't know about you all, but I left that faculty meeting feeling so much better. And I was like, I feel like a heavy weight has been lifted off of me because I got to see everybody that I get the opportunity to work with. And I just wanted you all to know, like, I really appreciate everybody. And so just having that, and then I think that will be good for the kids, but we just need to start that communication. So I think the first line would be to have those Zooms per grade level and talking with the parents.
I wanted to add too. Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
I wanted to add too. I know the math. Oh, sorry. You go. I'll pause.
I was going to say, I think the schedule the way it is, I think it's a good idea, because if we don't go into in-person, say until February for everybody, and they are used to having all of those classes. So when they come in, they won't be like, oh, I'm only going to be here for 12. I think it's a good idea, because when I watch Emmanuel, he'll do his classes till 12, and he's still online doing work until 3. He'll take a break for lunch. He still get online and he's doing work and stuff like that till 3 and 4. So if they can do this and get a better understanding of work that they have to do for each class, I think it's a good idea.
Mr. Anakin?
Yes, I was just saying, as far is it not required on the Zoom as far as that they have it turned on? I didn't realize that, because we make Alec think that he has to be on.
No. Well, keep telling Alec to turn it on.
We tell him it's a requirement, because he tries to pull that little trick with us. I'm like, no, it's a requirement, man.
Yeah. So at the very beginning of the year, secondary, we all were like, I don't know, like the social emotional and the socioeconomic thing of it was like, well, what if a child doesn't want you to see their surroundings? So we don't want to make them feel like, okay, well, I'm just not going to Zoom because I don't want to turn my camera on. And so that's what we found, like, we're not going to push it, but please at some point turn on your camera so we can see your face and say hi or bye or something. So that's all we required at the secondary level. Elementary, they require it. But I'm going to be honest with you. I have a child who never turns on her camera. Like, she put a little cat emoji thing that moves on her screen. Like, so when everybody's learning, there's like a cat that's doing, and she turns her camera on at the beginning of the section of instruction and then at the end.
Better than not at all.
Yeah. Well, that's because we had a meeting and we were like, you got to turn your camera on.
Yeah, me too.
No, and sometimes it affects the bandwidth. So it goes like lagging, and so we tell them turn it off, and then it fixes for some kids that the internet is not so good, strong, and it helps them. It depends.
Right.
I was gonna say to the like not jumping into the 7 hours a day. I know the math department of Fayette County, they padded the first few days back so that we could work on other things besides only lesson math focused. So maybe like if we could all do that as a school the first few days back, getting into the 7 hours, 7 periods of just kind of reviewing concepts or reviewing standards of that kind of thing. So they're building up to it, but it's not super duper content focused for that full amount of time.
And in all actuality, like we're doing the mid-year, the winter MAP assessment. So we have to come up with a plan for that. And that's going to happen in January as well. So we're going to have some interruptions, but it's better to go. I personally think it's better to go ahead and have the 7 periods, because if we start with 6th grade, they're going to have a little introduction into, here's the expectation. You're going to have 7 classes.
Yeah.
Where they actually physically come into the building and have 7 classes that are like 54 minutes long and electives that are 45 minutes.
I'm just thinking about the parents when they have all those homework and they have to do it by themselves over there.
That
Well,
math is
see,
awful.
Yeah.
You're all math teachers. Sweet Lord.
I know, this
Thank
crazy
you.
math that they come up with.
Thank you. Those Common Core.
Like, you know what? You just multiply 2 numbers and come up with an answer. Like, why do I have to make a box with dots in it? I
Thank you.
don't get it.
You all went crazy on that.
Not us.
It wasn't the math teachers. It was Singapore math.
Yeah.
Who can I email then?
Singapore.
Let me write that down real quick, 'cause I'm gonna send them
Department of
something right now.
Education.
Right.
Department of Education, right?
Oh,
Oh my
goodness.
gosh, Mr. Anakin, you should see me with 3rd grade math. And I'm like,
Wait till you get to 7th. Give me a call.
okay,
Yeah.
I will. Trust me.
I'll send the app I found. It is nuts though.
Yeah, because 3 times 2 is 6. I don't know why I have to do what is it
No, it's
called?
not. You gotta
I
break it
know.
down. Break it down for me real quick.
Yeah, you better break it down with a box.
And it may change by the time she get to 7.
Oh gosh.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh Lord.
Oh goodness. All right. So so are we in agreement with this plan?
So just understand, it is the hybrid. Is it 4? And I've missed this. 2 days or 4. So there'll be It'll be a group going Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, or all 4.
All 4.
So when we go in person,
All 4.
5 days.
5 days. Okay.
It'll be Monday through Friday.
And remote, it will be 4 days of all his
That'd be
classes.
shocking. Well,
Remote, it will be 5 days.
No, 4.
4.
Remote.
Wednesday, they will not have class.
But
You're still
Wednesday,
doing the social emotional learning on
Well,
that
yeah.
Okay.
morning, and
Whoa.
yeah.
Slow down.
Mm,
Remember, we've got to use the right language. So in-person learning,
Okay.
5 days.
Mhm.
While in-person learning is going on, we have about 20% of our kids that will be remote. They will go 5 days. Then NTI 2DL modified
Mhm.
is 4 days.
4 days. Okay.
And that's when everybody is at home, or maybe a pocket of people might be quarantined or isolated at home.
There's no
If-
more A and B group.
No.
So if we're back in person and we
Mhm.
have a snow day, is it just going to be expected
NTI.
that everybody does the modified NTI?
Yes, we will not be like West Virginia, Jefferson County schools who sent that. I don't know if you all have seen that on Facebook. They sent an email out to all of the families and said, this is going to be a snow day. Go enjoy the snow.
oh,
I'm pretty sure that that's not going to happen in Fayette County. I'm pretty
no,
sure.
I hope not.
So we will not have any snow days. We will use NTI, and we will use that NTI schedule that I just shared with you.
Okay,
So, if there are no more questions about NTI 2DL modified, could I have a motion to approve it?
a motion to approve the
I'm
schedule.
a,
Oh,
I
okay.
second it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, Cooper and then Seer. All right. So that concludes new business. Other business. Just really quick, I sent an email to you before this meeting started. So Daryl Thompson shared with principals that during a webinar that we need to have a document on file that states that you're okay with receiving an email about special called meetings because we're in the middle of a pandemic. So if you could just fill out that form and then email it back to Kathleen so that we have record of that. Greatly appreciate it.
That is a signing form, or we have to print and sign? I haven't seen it.
You have to
It's a
print.
Word document. You'll have to print and sign it, and then like.
I'll do that on Friday in school.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Public comments.
I do have a question on the other business on the transportation. And maybe,
Yes.
I mean, you know what, Ms. Kirby, we can actually, you know what, that can be tabled. If you wouldn't mind, maybe after for like 2 minutes on the bus transportation, we can table that. If you don't
Okay.
mind, like 2 minutes.
Oh, not a problem. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Because I know that Google form went out today to parents.
And I'll be speaking on behalf of several parents that are in that Autumn Ridge, Andover area that I've been getting texts and emails and things of that nature saying, could you talk to Ms. Kirby or somebody about this? So
Okay. I will stay on, and I'm pretty sure
Okay.
I know what the concern is. Okay, well, at this time, if there's no other business, the time is now 6:00, and I will call this meeting adjourned.
Okay.
Thank you so much. You all have a Merry Christmas.
Merry
Happy
Christmas,
Kwanzaa,
everybody.
Holidays.
Happy
Merry Christmas.
Hanukkah,
Yeah, all of them.
Yeah.
and all that.
Happy holidays.
all of
Happy
Holidays.
holidays. Hey, just unplug. No computers for 2 weeks.